Hey, did you hear? The word around the office is safety. Today, we'll show you what it's all about. Accidents can happen anywhere, at any time, even in the office. Your office may seem safe enough, but you can still get hurt there. Often the hazards you encounter are hidden in common everyday tasks. For instance, typing with too much force or even sitting incorrectly can lead to chronic conditions such as carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain. These problems can last a lifetime, and they often start right here at the office. In fact, millions of people seek medical treatment each year for office-related injuries. Hi, I'm Don Dawson. Welcome to our program. Today, we'll take a close look at the office and the hazards so many of us seem to be unaware of. Knowing where the trouble spots are is the first step to avoiding injury. See you later. Office safety actually begins before you get to your desk. You need to be careful in public areas outside of your building, like parking lots and sidewalks. These places are especially hazardous when they are dimly lit. Darkness can conceal danger, from obstacles you could trip over to violent criminals. Bad weather can also be a problem. Rain, snow, hail, and sleet make walking surfaces treacherous. As you move indoors, you need to carry the think safety attitude with you. Leave rain and snow outside by wiping your feet. Wet shoes can be as slippery as ice skates on a tile or stone floor. Other slick surfaces can be found in the office too. Steer clear of spills and be cautious of recently waxed floors. If you notice a slick area, put up a warning sign and call someone who can correct the situation. If the problem is near a doorway, put signs on both sides. Watch out for trip hazards too. An electrical cord stretched across a floor can be an accident waiting to happen if it's not taped down. And remember, extension cords are never a permanent solution. They should be removed as soon as possible. Loose carpeting or floorboards are another trip hazard that should be reported immediately to a supervisor or building maintenance personnel. Mark the area as hazardous until repairs can be completed. You also need to stay alert as you travel down office hallways and through doors. The primary issues in these areas are obstructions, other people, and your own conduct. Obstructions are a common problem. You can get hurt by bumping into them, or they can block an evacuation route during an emergency. So keep walkways and doors clear of anything that hinders easy passage. Computer cables that hang where people walk can also cause injuries. Use cable ties to control this hazard. Of course, you have to see obstructions before you can remove them, so report faulty or dirty lighting at once. Crowding on stairways and elevators is hazardous too. You can trip if you're not careful, or be attacked by umbrellas and other objects people are carrying. Avoid these situations when you can. If that's not possible, keep your eyes peeled and keep your own personal effects close to your body so you don't injure others. When you're on a stairway, you should use a handrail whenever you can, and never take more than one step at a time when ascending or descending stairs. Be considerate of the other people you meet. Never push past them. Approach doorways carefully and open doors slowly. There may be someone on the other side. Now that we've successfully navigated the stairs and hallways, let's see what your work area has in store for you. Unfortunately, it can have all kinds of painful possibilities too. Do you know where to find them? One of the most commonly misused pieces of office furniture is the chair. Keep the legs of your chair on the floor at all times. Tipping backwards is unsafe, especially in four-legged chairs, which can tip over easily. Use a five-legged chair to provide better overall stability if one is available. Remember to inspect your chair periodically. Look for loose or damaged parts and cracked welds. Don't use a chair that you know is defective. Tag the chair as broken and remove it from service. And never use a chair as a ladder. That's not what it's designed for, and you can get seriously hurt using it this way. Bookcases, file cabinets, and shelving can also cause trouble if you don't consider the instability or the weight of items that you're storing. To ensure that shelves are stable, load them from the bottom up and never put heavy items on the upper levels. Overloading shelving is dangerous too. It can cause shelves to collapse, injuring people and damaging materials. File cabinets should be loaded from bottom up as well. When accessing files, always open one drawer at a time. This will prevent the cabinet from leaning forward and possibly toppling over. Once your materials are squared away, don't forget to keep drawers and cabinets closed when not in use. They can have sharp edges, and people could walk into them and get hurt. After you've taken care of your file cabinets and bookcases, you can move on to your desktop and other workspaces. Clutter in these areas can be perilous. It can conceal sharp objects like scissors, pushpins, or utility knives, and you don't want to find these the hard way. Keep pointed tools in a drawer or separate container away from other supplies like markers and paper clips. Never reach for sharp objects blindly. You might find more than you're looking for. While it can take a little muscle to use some office tools, applying too much effort can be a big mistake. For example, forcing a stapler to work is a bad idea. Find out why it's malfunctioning and correct the problem, or borrow another stapler instead. The blade of a paper cutter is sharp and can cut your fingers and hands as well as paper. Never put so many sheets into a paper cutter that you have to power a blade through them. Take some paper out and make 2 cuts instead, and always keep your fingers at a safe distance from the cutting edge. And speaking of paper, its edges can be sharp as well. The cuts they leave behind can really smart. To prevent this, use finger guards when you handle large amounts of paper. Moisten stamps and envelopes with a sponge to avoid cuts and for better sanitation. Cutting hazards can be found in the lunchroom too. If a glass breaks, clean it up right away with a brush and dustpan. Never use your hands, not even to pick up the large pieces. Put the glass fragments into a box. Wipe up small splinters and shards with a moist paper towel, then place the towel in the box as well. Mark the box as containing broken glass. Discard other sharp items, such as razor blades, in appropriately labeled boxes as well. While some items are obvious hazards, other office tools are so commonplace that we forget about their potential to injure us. Equipment like printers and fax machines can be terrific time-saving devices, but like all tools, they have to be used properly and treated with respect. Electrically powered equipment requires special attention because of its potential to cause serious injuries. These machines often have moving parts that can easily grab loose clothing and jewelry. Remove these articles before approaching any powered equipment. Once the machine has a hold of you, it won't let go. Make sure power cords are free of cracks. If they aren't, don't use them under any circumstances. The result can be a serious electrical shock or even a fire. Never overload an outlet. Drawing too much power can cause the wires inside the walls to overheat, which can also lead to a fire. If you are repairing a piece of equipment, make sure that the power is off and the machine is unplugged. Equipment like copiers can have other hazards as well. Copier lamps can harm your eyes over time, so be sure to keep the document cover down. If you can't keep the cover completely closed, look away from the light and close your eyes. Toner powder is another unique hazard. Copiers use this during the duplication process. Unfortunately, it can also cause skin and eye irritation. And remember to always wash your face and hands immediately after handling toner. Computers can have their own hazards too. Controlling light and avoiding eye strain are the first things to watch out for. To minimize the effect of uneven lighting, position the monitor at right angles to windows. You can also adjust window treatments if you have them. Glare on a computer monitor is another problem that is caused by lighting. It can overwork your eyes as they try to filter out the excess light. To decrease glare at your computer, reduce the general lighting level. Move the monitor or tilt the screen. If this still doesn't help, place a glare filter over your screen. After you have dealt with glare, you'll want to eliminate other sources of eye strain. Your monitor's controls are a good place to start. Look at contrast first. A high contrast ratio, such as a light background with dark letters, improves clarity. A poor contrast ratio makes focusing difficult. Your monitor's positioning can affect readability as well. Place the monitor 16 to 27 inches from your eyes and position it so your eyes look down at a 5 to 20 degree angle. Another way to avoid eye strain is to take occasional breaks to focus on an object at least 20 feet away. This will relax your eye muscles. Now that you've safeguarded your eyesight, let's take a look at your body position. This is just as important for office workers as anyone else. This position I'm in is frankly not recommended. Long hours of working at a desk can be stressful on the body. Improper posture can injure your back and joints just as badly as physical labor. To avoid this, you need to maintain neutral positions that minimize physical strain. Keep your seat high enough to place your forearms at right angles to your upper arms. Your legs should be positioned so that the thighs are at right angles to the shins, with your feet resting flat on the floor or on a footrest. It is especially important to support your lower back, the lumbar region. This can be done with a lumbar cushion, a pillow, or even a rolled-up towel. And make sure your torso is at a 90-degree angle to your thighs. Remember to keep your wrists flat, too. Do this by raising or lowering your keyboard or using a wrist pad. Your head and neck are important as well. Keep your head straight and avoid side-to-side or up-and-down motion as much as possible. How you organize the materials you work with can also affect your health. Having them spread out over too large an area is a common problem. Overstretching can cause chronic injuries like muscle strain and lower back pain. If you're like me, you thought that after high school, you'd never have to deal with chemicals again. Wrong. You say you don't use chemicals? What about cleaners and solvents? Before you work with any chemical, read the directions. Failure to follow the precautions on the label can result in serious consequences. To prevent spills, keep the container closed when it's not in use. Why should you be concerned? Some chemical fumes can cause illness or tissue damage. These substances are even more dangerous in poorly ventilated or confined areas, so always use chemicals in areas with good air circulation. Also remember that chemicals and smoking are never a good mix. Many compounds are flammable and could be ignited by a single ash. I bet that you don't think that weightlifter is a part of your job description. But then again, you didn't think that you worked with chemicals either. The office is full of heavy objects that you may have to move. Let's look at some of them. Office supplies and other packages can be very heavy. Assess the weight of a package before you attempt to lift it. Get some help if it's too heavy. If no one is available, use a hand truck or dolly. Get close to the object and lower yourself by bending at the knees. Never bend at the waist. Always keep your back straight when you lift. Once you're ready, lift the load with your legs. Lower the load the same way that you lifted it. Bend at the knees, keep your back straight, and let the load down slowly. You also need to carry your own weight when it comes to security. When you see strangers, offer to assist them in locating the people they want to visit. It's perfectly reasonable to ask who they are. They shouldn't take offense. Remember, offices depend on outside traffic to conduct business, and most visitors are perfectly harmless. But extra awareness is always a good idea. Unfortunately, fire is no stranger to office environments. It's a deadly and destructive menace whose toll is measured in destroyed property and lost lives. Good judgment and sound safety practices are what reduce the risk, along with a sense of what's going on around you. Hey, do you guys smell something? The best way to fight fires is to prevent them from happening in the first place. Do your part by keeping combustible materials away from sources of ignition. Remember to smoke only in designated areas and dispose of butts and matches properly. You should know at least 2 evacuation routes in case a fire does occur. Remember, never use an elevator during a fire. Stairs are the only safe way out. If you do encounter a fire, pull the fire alarm immediately. Don't try to extinguish the flames unless you've been trained and authorized to do so. If it looks like too much to handle, leave it to the professionals. Well, our time is just about up. Let's review what we've learned. Start your day by avoiding slips, trips, and falls, both inside and outside the office. Store your materials safely. Don't overload filing cabinets or shelves. Practice good ergonomics, maintaining neutral positions as much as possible. Use good lifting techniques. Bend at the knees and lift with your legs. Exercise caution around chemicals. Read labels thoroughly. And be prepared in the event of a fire or other emergency. It takes a lot of people's efforts to keep your office safe, and you see one of the most important of them every day, in the nearest mirror. So stay alert. When you do, you'll help others to stay safe, maybe even stay alive.